My name is Jake, welcome to the channel, and today's video I want to talk about how your life changes before and after becoming a dividend investor. Now I'm going to share with you some of my personal experiences before I became a dividend investor and afterwards what that looked like. I'm now 37 years old, I'm going to be turning 38 here in the summer, but I discovered dividend investing when I was about 30 years old, so about 7.5 years ago. And I clearly remember what my life was like before becoming a dividend investor or investing into dividend stocks to hopefully one day live off of the income from my portfolio. I remember what my life was like before that and after. And I want to share with you really the realities of what it was like before and after becoming a dividend investor. And I want to say really quick that I am a little bit under the weather. My son brought home some kind of cold or whatever. And so obviously I am sick. And so my voice is almost completely gone. So I'm going to try to do my best to make this video. But I apologize if my voice is a little bit squeaky. So who I'm talking to in this video is someone who's maybe thinking about dividend investing, becoming a dividend investor, or going down this path of trying to build passive income from, dividend investing, or if maybe somebody's been doing this for a while to kind of look back and reflect on your own personal experience, what it was like before and after you became a dividend investor. Now, when we talk about dividend investing, there's a lot of strong opinions. Whether you go online or you talk to different people, people generally love or hate dividend investing. And that always confused me that people have such strong opinions. The world is so polarized. The world is so divided. But you hear, people talk really highly about it and people absolutely trash it. And so you might be scratching your head if you're new to this and thinking, well, is dividend investing even worth it? Is it worth my time? Is it something that I should even pursue? And it's one of those topics that gets debated heavily, and there's a lot of emotions that come with this. A lot of people that debate, dividend investing, it's a lot about it's kind of like that whole debate, should you buy or rent a house? Or should you pay off your mortgage or should you keep your mortgage? And when you're talking about these type of topics, all of these can have emotional and mathematical implications, but most people focus only on the mathematical or the numbers of the equation. But I want to focus today on the emotional side of this topic. And it's hard to quantify emotions because when you're dealing with emotions, it can be different for everyone. And it's hard to input a numerical weighting to how emotions play into an equation when weighting the pros and cons of something. For example, should you pay off your mortgage? That's just one simple example. And I find it hard to put into words to describe what it was like investing before becoming a dividend investor. But if I had to put into words what it was like, it would look a little like this. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to talk about my own personal experience, what it was like for me, and maybe you'll be able to relate. Before I became a dividend investor or someone, I find it kind of cringy to say I'm a dividend. I hate labeling. In America especially, we love labeling things, and everybody has their own tribe. I'm not trying to be tribal with this. It's not what I'm trying to do. But before I started focusing on dividend investing, when I was investing, I was kind of all over the place. I was getting my information from different sources. You got the Ramseys of the world talking about your mutual funds. You got the others, the gurus talking about this and that. There was a lot of noise. And you know what it felt like before I started focusing on dividend investing? It truly felt like I was driving in fog, that I was behind the wheel and I couldn't see what was in front of me. And I was just I know I was doing something, but I couldn't see really what I was doing. And that's what it felt like before I discovered dividend investing, that I was driving in fog. And a big part of why this was so difficult for me was when I was thinking about investing, I couldn't stop thinking about I had to be right twice. I had to buy at the right time. I had to hold it for the right amount of time, and I had to sell it at the right time. And what was so difficult for me was navigating, I started investing right around the financial crisis of '08 and '09. That's generally kind of where I started investing. And, I was thinking I had to buy at the bottom, sell at the top. And I had to do that for every single recession. And it just overwhelmed me. And I was like, what? There's got to be a better way, an easier way. And obviously you can buy and hold without being a dividend investor. That's obviously you can do that. But a lot of investors, they think, or at least I was made to believe, that you had to get in and out of the market at the right time. And that really, really frustrated me. And it almost made me give up entirely on investing because it felt like it was a scam. It felt like it was just a game. It just didn't make any sense to me and I couldn't win. The odds were stacked against me. That's how I honestly felt. And I was made to believe that investing was complex and it had to be complicated in order to be able to do it right. And I quickly learned after I started learning about dividend investing that, wait a second, it doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to have all these multiple layers to have the perfect mix. It doesn't have to look like that at all. And once I discovered, dividend investing and then the simple path to wealth from J.L. Collins talking about, investing into VTSAX or the total US stock market, I adapted what J.L. Collins said about investing in, the total US stock market for the FIRE movement and the 4% rule. And I applied that to dividend investing and everything was just so clear. There was no more fog in front of me once I discovered the simple path to wealth with dividend investing. And it made things so much easier. And when I think back on what it was like, trying to time the market, trying to day trade, trying to, all of those things, the complexity that came with that. So this was obviously not very ideal, especially someone who was trying to invest and trying to better his life, but didn't really know what to do back when I first started. So if you're watching this video and you're considering becoming a dividend investor, or you've been a dividend investor for a couple of years, I just want you to know that the emotional side that comes with dividend investing, you don't want to underplay the importance of that. A lot of people will tell you that you're doing something wrong, that mathematically that it's not the right approach, it's inferior, whatever it may be. But I want you to know that when I first started dividend investing and becoming a dividend investor, let me tell you kind of what it was like for me. And if you're new to this, you may be able to relate, or I hope that this helps kind of help you understand what that looks like. Before I became a dividend investor, it felt like I was driving in fog. I couldn't really see in front of me. Once I became a dividend investor, it was like there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I could see that there was an end, that there was far, far into the distance, that there was an end to where I was going. And before that, that light wasn't there. And so if you're thinking about dividend investing and you're lost, I promise you, once you become a dividend investor and you understand and you educate yourself more about this, and you understand about time horizon and your goals and why you're investing, I promise you that you're going to see that light at the end of the tunnel. However far away it may be a decade or two away, but you're going to be able to see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas before you found dividend investing, there was no light at the end of the tunnel. And the last thing that I want to share here is more on the personal side for me, how it truly was before and after discovering dividend investing was, before focusing on dividend investing, it felt like I was going through life carrying a backpack full of rocks. And these rocks would weigh me down wherever I would go or whatever I would try to do when it came to investing. But not only investing, because investing, it has implications and impacts other areas of our life. Our financial stability can impact our relationships, it can impact our well-being, many different things. And once I discovered dividend investing, it was as if overnight, all of the rocks that I was carrying in this backpack were emptied and that I was light as a feather. And that feeling of being light as a feather was so powerful. It was just incredible. And once again, talking about the emotional side, Mathematically, you could tell me that I'm doing everything wrong, and that's completely fine. But emotionally, and investing is emotional, we are human beings after all, emotionally, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And because it was so powerful, because it helped change my life so much, I created this YouTube channel to help other people like me who were trying to figure this whole thing out, to hopefully inspire you to go down this path and discover this for yourself. And hopefully one day you too will be able to take off that backpack full of rocks and be light as a feather.
Please subscribe. Please subscribe.
You know what? I think we're gonna be friends. Can everyone say hi to my friend? That's crazy. I just wanted to say thanks. I'm glad you came along, partner.